This is deep dish, right?
Yeah, well, let's get deep.
So I'm going deep on both sides.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Deep Dish Conversations. And look, I'm really excited about this. And y'all know who I am, right? Your host and creator, Jerome Moore. But I'm really excited about this episode because I get to get inside of a community here in Nashville, the Kurdish community, that I've really never been able to really get a deep inside look or understanding. You read about it, you hear about it, especially as a Nashvilleian, like, hey, we have the biggest Kurdish community here outside of Kurdistan, right? And so that's like a theme, right? But how many of us really know what is going on inside the Kurdish community here in Nashville that are not Kurds, right? And so today we have Tabeer and we have Dash from the Tennessee Kurdish Community Council organization here in Nashville. And so how y'all doing?
Good, thank you.
Do good?
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. And look, we got the pizza here. So y'all make sure y'all partake and you eat.
It looks great.
It tastes even better. You know what I'm saying? I see Tabeer's already.
I couldn't wait.
You couldn't wait.
Yeah, couldn't
No. And so, all right, I want us to jump right into it. If you could sum up in a few words, how would you explain the Kurdish community here in Nashville?
Yeah.
I'll say we're a tight family, honestly.
Tight family?
Yeah, everybody in the Kurdish community knows each other.
Yeah, Kurds has been around since 1970s.
Yeah.
Our community it's only growing day by day. So one thing that stands out the most in our community is, like they say on the streets, I got your back, you got my back.
Yeah.
They're so it's a family-oriented community where our community is like a body. If one part of your body hurts, the whole body hurts. So that's what we care about each other a lot. Especially when it comes to grievances. If someone dies in the community,
right,
the whole community supports the deceased family.
Right.
So it's a community where we care about each other a lot.
And so, let's go back a little bit just historically. Why did so many, what was the reason on, so many Kurds moving into Nashville?
For me, my family says, the area reminded them of home.
Oh, wow.
But...
Well, if you look back at the history of Kurds, Kurdistan, it used to be a country, but
right,
because of we've been oppressed a lot, the history speaks for itself. Kurds has been divided into 4 different, countries in that region.
Let me see if I can name them. Let's see.
Sure.
See if I can name them.
Yeah.
History test.
Let's see if you did your research.
Syria.
Okay.
Iran, Iraq, Turkey.
And Turkey.
Hey.
Yeah.
Don't test my history.
You passed.
I passed the test.
You did.
I passed the test.
You did.
How many people knew that? How many people could name the 4 countries? Some people don't. Yeah. So I get some cool.
Can.
I get some cool points with that.
Yeah. We'll give you some brownie points.
Yeah. I should have asked, y'all to bring me a Kurdish dish. You know what I'm saying? That's what I should have. Next time.
Yeah, next time?
How
We'll
about
bring some dolma or something.
No, how about this? You attend our Kurdish New Year event on March 20th.
March 20th. I'm there.
It's our Kurdish New Year. We celebrate it on March 21st of every year. So
I did not know that. And yeah. I'm sure that's a hell event. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
it is our biggest event of the year, where thousands of people attend. It's like a picnic style event where it's an outdoor event.
Yeah.
Lots of food, lots of you'll see beautiful Kurdish, colorful dresses, live music, lots of food.
Yeah.
So you're more than welcome to attend.
I'm there.
You get to taste lots of different.
I'm there. No, I'm there.
Food.
I'm pretty sure like people from probably all over the country probably come.
Yeah, our event has become one of an iconic event in the States. You know,
Wow.
Kurds from other states join us. Yeah, it's a fun, a day full of festivities. You know, we will have different programs, different activities throughout the whole day for kids, for adults. You know, it's
There's
a
dancing.
yeah, lots
Music,
of dancing, for sure.
Yeah, they have a fire
Yeah.
to celebrate the New Year's.
Yeah.
So
Fire is the symbol of our
Yeah.
of the Kurdish New Year.
oh
Yeah.
wow,
So there's a fire lit, you know, throughout the whole day.
just stay burning the whole time.
And we just keep, you know,
Keep going. Just
Yep.
keep putting fire and
Exactly.
fuel on the fire.
Right.
Take me through the process of that migration, right? From either one of those 4 countries
Yeah.
on making it here to Nashville.
Yeah. So when I said Kurds has been divided, you know, into 4 different countries, you know, Kurds in Turkey, at one point they were not allowed to speak their mother tongue because of the Turkey's oppression. And same goes with the Kurds in Iraq, you know. Kurds in all 4 countries, you know, are on daily basis, and they're oppressed, you know, by the regime of their country.
Right.
Me and my family were a victim of chemical
Warfare.
of mustard gas.
Wow.
In 1988, my dad was murdered by chemical gas. He was a Peshmerga, meaning a freedom fighter.
What's the word?
Peshmerga.
Peshmerga.
Yeah, meaning
It's guerrilla fighter in English, right?
guerrilla fighters. Well,
Freedom
there's a lot
fighter,
of
yeah.
freedom
There's a
fighter.
lot of words.
Okay.
Those who sacrifice, you know, their life
Yeah.
for the sake of our dignity, our land, you know,
Right.
our freedom. So the biggest wave of Kurds migrated to United States, you know, after the Gulf War in 90s, where thousands of Kurds, you know, flee to mountains
Right.
just to seek shelter from chemical. Saddam Hussein's regime, of Iraqi regime of that time, basically declared his whole ego and, you know, and mission was to do the ethnic cleansing of Kurds, you know, get rid of all the Kurds. But luckily, during I believe Bush or / Clinton administration ordered a no-fly zone over Kurdistan region. That, you know, just to give us some breathing room. So Kurds migrated. I mean, to this country, I would say in '90s that was the biggest wave, which of course it didn't happen, you know, easily. It was a hard, you know, hardships and conditions. They stayed in Turkey camps for like 3 years, some for 4
A
years,
lot of
some
families were refugees.
2 years. Yeah, they stayed in Turkey camps, you know, so just for the process.
Right.
And then they divided Kurds into different states, but majority landed in Nashville.
Wow.
I guess, you know, Nashville is kind of similar to back home, right, where there's the mountains, hills, you know, and the weather, some kind of similarities maybe. And also at that time, of course not now, but at that time the cost of living might have been, you know, a reasonable,
Affordable,
yeah, for many, you know,
Yeah.
which of course is not the case anymore. you know,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
But and then and also, you know how you move one place to another place, you prefer to go somewhere that you know someone already
Right.
to help you get around, you know,
Right.
get your head start, especially if you're dealing with the culture shock, language barriers, you know.
Right.
So before that, there were some families here already established in Nashville, you know.
Right.
So that's why people just keep coming to Nashville.
Right.
And then in '96, there was this second wave of Kurds, you know, migrated to United States, and again, that was the main reason came
It was
to Nashville.
already, it was already a
It was already
established
an
community.
established community here.
Yeah.
So I guess that's how it started, and that's how, you know, our community keeps growing
Right.
every day, you know. And we're blessed to be here. This is home.
Right.
We call Nashville Little Kurdistan, you know.
Okay.
So it's been a good journey so far.
What are some of the hardest challenges that many people face in the Kurdish community making that migration. Like coming here, it's still, even though you might have family, you might have familiar faces, food, culture, but it's still not home, and you're still not in your homeland,
True.
right? And because many people don't know the history, right? They might see Kurdish as just, oh, you are from the Middle East,
Yep.
right? And that already puts like a stigma on people from that, right?
Sure.
And so what are some of those challenges that, you know, even today, right, that Kurds may face here in Nashville just based on like misperception of who the Kurds are, the challenges you all face?
Well, just like you said, you know, like every other community, you know, we have our own challenges, you know,
Right.
and on a daily basis that we face, because we're no different than other communities, you know.
Right.
We're just from different, you know, different culture.
Right.
Just like you said, when people think, yes, Kurdistan is in Middle East, you know,
Right.
so we can't run away from that, you know.
Right.
But some people, they don't differentiate, you know, the different culture types in Middle East, you know.
Right.
When they automatically think Middle East, they automatically, you know, put you down as certain, you know, a certain category of people.
Right.
Although there are, you know, different ethnicities in Middle East, you know, different religious
Right.
groups, different sects in Middle East, but the perception of, you know, of a lot of many people, you know,
Just grouped together.
yeah, and we often, you know, every time we get an opportunity, you know, we try as a community to educate, you know, people that, hey, Kurds, you know, we have our own culture. Our culture is
Right.
different. Our language is different.
Right.
The religion we do have Muslims, you know.
Right.
In our community, we also have, you know, Jews, you know, like Catholics, and Christians, Yazidis.
Right.
Our nationality, you know, consists of different religious groups. You know,
Right.
it's not just one type. You know.
Right.
So we try to, you know, educate people about that.
Right.
Especially when, you know, during September 11, you know,
I was going to ask you about
attack,
that.
you know,
Yeah.
people,
Because that perception, those wrong perceptions can
Yeah.
be harmful,
Yeah.
right? If I just say, oh, well, they from the Middle East
yeah,
and 9/11 just happened,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you all just overnight became, you know, something wrong, right?
Yeah.
Overnight. And so what was that? And I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
you know, like it might have been different from you, Dash, and you,
Yeah.
Tabeer. Just what was those challenges?
Yeah, I remember back I was in high school at that time, Glencliff High School, and that morning, you know, when September 11 happened, of course, the emotions were high, you know.
Right.
There were a lot of, you know, talks back and forth, 'cause nobody knew what was going on until the full details came out. And I'm not gonna say we became, you know, the victims. I mean, you know, the suspects, you know, of
Right.
that crime. But of course, there were, you know, mixed emotions. You know, people might have looked at us differently.
Right.
But again, I tried, you know, at that time I tried my best, you know, to tell at least my friends, you know, the peers around me, hey,
Right.
you know, don't get it mixed up, you know,
Right.
just because we're from Middle East, but it doesn't.
Not everybody from
Not
the Middle
everybody
East.
is exactly or
Is like
are the same.
Right. How did that affect you, Dash?
I mean, I feel like, for me, you just kind of get looked at a little different, you know?
Right.
But I mean, I was a kid when it
Right.
happened. I was maybe, I don't even know how old.
So I was in when it happened. I was in the sixth grade.
Yeah.
Sixth grade when it happened. So you know, I didn't fully like.
We're kids. We don't
yeah,
know.
we kids. And then I went to a predominantly black
I feel
school.
old now.
Yeah.
I was in high school.
Yeah, no, we were.
I was
we were young.
I was a sophomore high school. Yeah.
But you know, you kind of look different. You know,
Right.
they look at you a little different. But
Right.
that's one thing that, you know, I wish people understood. Like, just because, yeah, we're from the Middle East,
Right.
we don't have our own country anymore, but we are different.
Right.
We have a different culture.
So I have to ask you this, right? Because again, I want to take an inside look of, you know, a daily life as a Kurd, if I can, right? You know, we can kind of highlight and see kind of me being black, right? Kind of some of the challenges and barriers that black folks have been through in the United States
Yeah.
because of just slavery, Jim Crow, all these things, right? It's well documented. you see it in films, it comes out, so it's like people you can constantly remember, and then like you see it on TV, this white black thing, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like as a Kurd, right? What does those attacks look like, especially after 9/11, that, you know, it goes beyond just the people are looking at you different. Like, now people may be treating you different, right? What does that treatment look like after 9/11, and even currently today, because people group, hey, they from the Middle East, that's different, right?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, me personally, you know, I really haven't faced I haven't really faced anything harsh
Okay.
like that, you know.
Okay.
I've lived here for almost 26 years, you know.
Okay.
I really haven't faced anything like that. The perception is, you know, we get that question a lot because we're in the South, so people automatically think the South is a little more, you know, sensitive.
But I got something else I'm gonna throw at you though.
All right.
I got something else I'm gonna throw at you
All
though.
right. But
Because I did my history,
okay.
and I know Kurds can come in different shades,
Mhm.
right?
I mean, look at me and Tabeer, for example.
Come in different shades. Now,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
Your proximity to whiteness
You didn't like.
is
He's
closer.
a white boy compared to me.
And so, do you think
I get it.
do you think that might have played a little bit into you
It
maybe
has.
not? Okay.
For sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
How do you
again,
feel about that?
And,
How
I'm,
does that?
and I'm just speaking for myself. You
Right,
know,
yeah,
'cause
yeah,
I'm
no,
not
yeah.
saying that, you know, my community, they haven't faced
Felt that, yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sure they have at some point, you know.
Yeah, for
even
sure.
until today. But one thing, we have to be realistic though, you know. See, there are rotten apples everywhere in
Right.
every communities and every nationality,
Right.
you know. There are racist people everywhere, you know. I'm not gonna deny that. But one thing that is important, we have to look, it's not where you live, it's how you live.
Right.
You know, so I really believe in that, you know.
Right.
Just because I live here, I'm not gonna automatically treat myself I'm different than from the person beside or in front of me, you know.
Right.
My job as a human being, you know, to do everything good, you know, for myself first and for my community.
Right.
You know, trying to educate myself and better myself in every way possible, and I can. And I believe that is a number one key. You know, that is a number one weapon to use against your, you know, your enemy or the one who dislikes you. You know, it's not about, you know, reaction. Sometimes you have to, you know, hurt them with kindness. You know what I mean? But in Davidson County, things are not as harsh. You know, if comparing to if you go away from Davidson County to the different isolated counties.
Right.
So we've lived here in the same county for years, you know.
Right.
So things are still, you know, are not that harsh. Again, I'm speaking for myself, and my reflection, you know, is a little bit, you know, different than some of the other friends that are in our communities, you know, especially when it comes to women's, you know.
Right.
Some women in our community, they wear scarf. So I'm
Right.
sure they face, you know, some difficulties or
Right.
challenges on a daily basis.
Right.
Which is, you know, I'm not surprised, you know, it's not a shock. Again, we're in a world of, you know, of different
Right.
of different backgrounds, you know, different emotions.
Right.
We can only control ourselves.
And then when you have different generations, like being born here, right?
Yeah.
You know that they're American,
Yeah.
right? And they see their American friends dressing
For
this
sure.
way.
The new
Doing this.
generation, they're more Americanized.
How does
Yeah,
that?
But I'd like to say they do contain the Kurdish culture. They might, you know, dress,
Right.
you know, not how they used to, like, per
Right.
se, my age and my sister's age,
Right.
and stuff like that. But they maintain the language, the culture, and they still stick with the community.
And so I've had a chance to work with, especially like with language learning with, because I speak Spanish, right? Language learning with a lot of the Latinx community, right? And a lot of their parents tell me, hey, you know, the kids don't want to speak Spanish. They want to just speak English because like either maybe some bullying at school, or they want to fit in, or the pressure of like, I don't want to identify with this culture because like nobody else or none of my friends identify. Do you see all that happening too in in the Kurdish community with the new generation, or if like people are like embracing it, or because they're embracing it, are things a little different at school, or did you all experience any of that growing up?
Yeah, growing up, for sure, we experienced it a lot, in school. And friends or students look at us differently simply because the way we dressed,
Right.
We were new to this country. I'm gonna speak for
Right.
myself, when I came here, I started in middle school, Of course, I dressed differently, I didn't know the language much,
Right.
So there was that kind of pressure,
Right.
At once maybe we were bullied
Right.
that we didn't know of,
Right.
But the new generation and today, I think they embrace it. It's
They're very
different.
proud.
The life is very different. I mean, I have kids
Right.
myself.
Right.
I have
That's
four.
amazing.
I have 4 boys that go to school here. High school, and again, they are Kurdish Americans.
Right.
They were born here, but still,
Right.
things. It's still different.
Right.
Regardless of yes, my kids were born here, but their parents are from
Right.
somewhere else,
Right.
But their life, on a daily basis is better than before, because
Right. Each
the
generation.
English,
yeah.
each generation it changes,
Right.
and their English is better, of course, their accent, maybe is perfect,
Right.
but as far as our community, it's so big now where even at school, our kids, they still try to get together,
Right.
have different groups,
Right.
or hang around with their own
Right.
people,
Now,
stuff like that.
and so this is why we're here too. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that because you had mentioned it's like 20 to 30,000
Yeah.
Kurds here in Nashville. That's crazy. Like it's crazy. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to create this platform is to bring more of us together, right? Bring more of us together. And like when I was in school, right? I went to all the schools I went to was like at least 98% black, right? And so I'm not familiar because I know like Overton, Glencliff, the Gap. Some of these schools are a little more diverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nationality wise, but you still see in our Nashville community we're diversely segregated, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have our black communities, we have our prominent white communities, Latinx communities, Kurdish communities, and you kind of see this too in our schools with our friends and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you all do anything to promote, like, hey, like, we understand this is our Kurdish community, but hey, we need to also like be diverse and be intentionally diverse of like getting to know the Latinx community, the black community, because I don't think we do enough of that. And it's very easy for us to like, hey, they look like me, maybe we share the same values.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure it's the same way in the Kurdish community. Like, hey, like both our parents, immigrated here from Kurdistan, and we speak the same native tongue and all that. But you all kind of promote, say, hey, like, okay, we know your culture, but get out there and try to make other friends or try to be intentional about other communities, or does the organization try to do some of that work too?
Yeah.
Because I think it's truly important to how we can
For sure.
get to understand and know each other more. But if we
Absolutely.
still keep saying, I'm gonna be comfortable over here,
Right.
like it's hard for us to have these conversations and us to understand more about our cultures. And I would say we're probably more similar than unsimilar anyway. But that distance makes it seem like, we probably completely different.
Right. Well, me personally, personally speaking, I never teach my kids, to separate themselves from other cultures or communities or different,
Right.
different ethnic groups. One thing I always tell my kids, get along with everyone and try to get to know other cultures, other people around you. It's important. We have to know our surroundings. Don't be selfish. Just hang around with your own type.
Right.
Especially in today's world, for us to make that change, we have to be part of that change.
Right.
Yeah, but as an organization, we don't have special programs or or announcement that we tell our community, hey, today is the. See, a couple of days ago, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. He said, how come we Kurds don't have, a March, Kurdish March month, or just like Black History Month, or, different
Right.
month? I was like, do we really need that? I was like, look what this has created, a Black History Month, or, some white supremacist month, or there's, by doing this, we keep isolating ourselves, from others.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, as an organization, we try to find opportunities where we can
Right.
just only educate people
Mhm.
of who we are,
Right.
simply because just to get along with others. We work with Jewish communities and centers here, Ethiopians, different ethnicities,
Right.
Hispanic groups, because we all came. The foundation of this country, we all came from somewhere.
Right.
Even whites, they came from somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's why it is important for us, to only accept each other and educate each other.
Mhm.
Like I'm here today, talking about our culture of who we are, what we do as a community
Mm-hmm.
in our daily lives.
Right.
It's only giving you some kind of background about us.
Yeah, for sure.
Just in case you hear about our community somewhere else, it'll give you some kind of information. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's this kind of stuff that makes our communities better.
For sure.
Not necessarily segregating our communities.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's like that, but for us to change that, we have to, break that stigma.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, we have to be more intentional in our communities to not get comfortable with just being isolated, right? Which is very easy to do, especially if you're not familiar or you have misconceptions about a community, right? And so one of the things I like to talk about is like language justice, right? And language barriers, because I went through it, right? I did Peace Corps in Paraguay in South America, didn't know any Spanish, right? And so it was a struggle, right? It takes away so much of your personality and your character when you don't know the language of a country that you're in. Like, it diminishes you, right?
You feel lost.
Yeah, you feel lost. Like, you feel lost, and like you literally just don't have the words to like, literally. It's not like they just not there, right? Then it's a learning curve, and you got to expect people to be patient with you, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
So it gave me a whole different context of like, well, what refugees, immigrants, and people who come to the United States and just don't know the language, right? And you got to think about born and raised here in Tennessee in the South,
Right.
where it's been pushed English first, English only,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
And so that just gave me a whole wake up call, right? So when I came back, like, I was real intentional, like, hey, I want to work around ESL and helping people learn, because I've been there, I know, I understand, right? But also what I understood too is like, now professionally, right? We may see these immigrants or refugees coming and doing these jobs that we might look down on, right? But it's not because they're not educated. It's not because they're not like equipped to do other things. It's simply because of language.
The language.
So how does that affect like the Kurdish community as far as professionally, and how did your organization like assist with that, and like some of those just barriers that, again, if you haven't been through the experiences, you could just really kind of like not understand like how difficult it really is, and that you're lost. And yeah, I might have to be a custodian here, but it's not because like I was a doctor or a lawyer,
Right.
in my home country. Like, I was doing like high level like professions, but I just don't have the words to be a doctor or a lawyer here, and I have to retake a test, or education is different. So how does that play into the Kurdish community here in Nashville and its like impact?
I think one thing I can say is whenever anybody comes to America, the Kurdish community is really good about helping them. I know Tabeer, for example, if anybody is new here, he'll like go see what they need, help out with housing or whatever, especially when they don't have, like you said, that communication.
Right.
You know, like, we're there to translate, help you, show you where to go, the best places to be.
Right.
I mean, there's even now classes to take to, you know, improve.
Your language skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even, I think in Nashville State, correct? Like, there's classes to learn Kurdish.
Wow.
Even we as a as an organization, we offer these free services to our community. You know,
Yeah.
especially for the older generation. Just like you said, they're dealing with the language barriers.
Yeah.
We try to offer a few sessions each week to teach them basic English stuff.
Right.
Fortunately, English, I would say right now, English in general, it is one of the easiest language to learn.
Okay.
Hypothetically speaking, I might be biased here because I speak English, but comparing it to other
Yeah.
languages,
yeah.
English is easy. When we first came here, obviously for the second generation or younger generation, things were easier for us because we could pick it up faster.
Right.
Usually kids pick up things faster than older generation. We still have some people within our community who are still dealing with the language.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but like I said, there are so many. We offer so many services within our community.
Right.
We will try our best, not to let those people down, or at least give them a reaching hand.
Right.
Our our ethnicity or nationality being the second behind Hispanics. Fortunately, right now, all the majority of the documents are translated into Kurdish.
Okay.
If you go to Department of Health, Department of Revenue, wherever, even the hospitals, or let's say Department of Teen Cares and Food Assembly,
Right.
there's documents translated into Kurdish language.
I guess you could say Nashville's
Which
kind
is-
of adjusted.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is good.
Yeah.
But again, language. One thing we try to tell people, especially for the newcomers, when you first come here, the first thing you need to get used to is the language, because language is really important.
Right.
Our community as a whole, they're very hardworking people.
Right.
We have people from different professions.
Right.
Just like you said, if you see some people working as a custodian, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't know anything else. It's
Right.
because maybe of the language,
Yeah.
or even we have some professionals, that come from Kurdistan who have degrees in law or in law enforcement, or different sects of government.
Right.
But just because their degrees, it doesn't transform over
To
so
the United States.
they left
Yeah.
with jobs with
Right.
that are basic services.
Right.
So yeah.
So you got me thinking, when you talk about especially services, right? Has Nashville done a good job, or do you see there's opportunity in the future, I guess, with Nashville also, in some of these high-level positions like council persons and school board members and law enforcement, right? Again, I'm looking from the outside in.
Mm-hmm.
I know we put a lot of emphasis on black and white in this country, right?
Yeah.
We put a lot, rightfully so. We put a lot of emphasis, but there are other communities, right, that are affected by the same things that we're affected by, right? So do you see that kind of representation in communication when it comes to those other like high level departments where they do seek out, right, you or other people of the community and say, hey, Tabeer, what do you think about, how does this affect the Kurdish community? How does policing or these housing or these other critical issues affect the Kurdish community specifically? Are those conversations being had or?
Good question. I get this question a lot, sometimes we cannot blame just the governments or the local governments here in Nashville. You know, sometimes we have to blame it on us. You know, as a community or as individuals. You know,
Right.
we have to prepare ourselves. You know, to be in that spot. You know?
Okay.
We have to be aware of what's going on in our communities in Nashville, especially when it comes to governmental stuff. You know,
Right.
like our mayor's office or governor's office.
Right.
We have to be part of the growth. We have to be
Right.
part of that change. For us, to be part of it, we have to educate ourselves. You know, for example, we have speaking for my community. You know, if I want to have our voice in any change that happens in Nashville, we have to have some representatives.
Right.
Councilmen, let's say,
Right.
or Chamber of Commerce, whatever
Right.
it could be. We have to have members there
Right.
for us to be. Some communities, are bigger than others. Like we have well over 20,000 Kurds in Nashville. So when it comes to either politicians or any changes in the community, especially right now, there's elections going on, especially after Nashville's Davidson County district.
Right. Right.
They divided it into three
Yeah.
parts.
Yep.
So there's a lot of action going on as far as people electing themselves for different districts. So our voice will be important for those
For sure.
candidates,
For sure.
for those representatives. So it is their job to come and reach out to us. But as far as for our voice to be heard, to be for any changes, it's important for us, to put ourselves in that situation,
Right.
to let our voice to be heard. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's crucial because 20,000 something community members, right? That could swing
Exactly.
any election or
For
seat,
sure.
right?
One vote sometimes can make a big change. So
exactly. 20,000 can definitely make it, right?
Exactly.
And I think like here in Nashville, you only like 300 votes or something like that. They can decide.
Can swing
Swing.
different
Yeah,
way.
that's all you need. Like if you
Yeah.
get 300, that can really decide a vote. I know we have like right now we have the judicial elections coming up. Early voting is in April, and then
and they have reached out to us. As far
yeah, because these are most of these are 8-year terms, right? And so out of like 400,000 people, only 25,000 people voted in the last judicial elections, right? That's
That's a low number.
That's 25,000 out of 400 out of everybody, and I mean
Yeah.
that's every single candidate, right? So like so you only needed you probably only needed 1,000 votes to win, a few if that, right? And so I can only imagine like now, right?
Yeah.
These are really important, like
For sure.
like especially you talking about DA, you talking about General Sessions Judge, Civil Court Judge, like these are, and then next year is council members, right? They're up for election, and so I can only imagine the importance of if I was a council person or if I was a judge, like I'm definitely reaching out. Like, hey, Tabeer, look,
Right. I mean,
what does the Kurdish community need?
Right.
Like, what do
What
I
can
need
we
to do?
do?
Yeah, what can I come speak, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure they have put it on their calendars,
Right.
for the upcoming event that we're having
On March.
On March
Yeah.
20th. I'm sure and the candidates they've already reached out to us. Hey,
Right.
can I come there? And give a
Yeah.
little speech or something like that. I was like, gonna have to wait because I'm sure there'll be a huge list.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But like you said, it's important. And for them to gain our votes,
right.
they're gonna want us, to put us, on their agenda as far as
Right.
we're making changes or
Right.
getting our second opinions for the city or for the districts.
Right.
It's important. We try our best to be part of this greater community of Nashville.
Right.
Whatever we can. And Kurds are they're very active in Nashville and they're very well stable.
Right.
Majority of the Kurds they're stable. They have their own businesses.
Right.
And when it comes to even in Chamber of Commerce, Kurds have affected. They have a big impact on Nashville's budget.
Yeah.
They pay their taxes. Some companies we have locally in Nashville that are owned by Kurds.
Right.
They have I would say hundreds of employees.
Yeah.
For example,
Yeah.
and that makes a big difference. So we try our best. Because we're here, we live here. This is home. It's little Kurdistan to us, and we're not trying to isolate ourselves or think that we're different from other people.
Right.
We're here. We're Kurdish Americans. And we're gonna do our best. To be good citizens. And that's what we. That's the goal.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jerome Moore, creator and host of Deep Dish Conversations. And I know y'all enjoying this episode, but just real quickly, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button and hit that notification so you can be notified when we drop new episodes and interviews. All right? I appreciate all love and support. And let's get back to this episode. Nashville is growing crazy,
It's
right?
a melting pot, man.
Right?
Yeah.
It's 100-something people moving here a day.
A day, yep.
Right.
That's a lot of people.
Right. How does that, how do you all see that impacting the Kurdish community, right? Because, of course, the Kurdish community is going to keep growing too, right?
For sure.
As Nashville keep growing, but a lot of that things become more expensive. And
Cost of living.
Cost of living goes up, and gentrification, right? In
sure.
general, like how do you all like see that affecting the Kurdish community, but also how does that for better or for worse, right? Because change is good, but also it could displace people. Make people have to.
It has.
Yeah,
And change is good. Growth is good.
Right.
The better. The bigger growth, the better. Revenue for the city and the more work.
Right.
But you have to. Everything has the good side and a bad side to it.
Mm-hmm.
We love the growth. It's beautiful seeing different people, different mindsets. Moving to Nashville.
Right.
Because I believe right now. Nashville is one of the fastest growing city in the States,
Right.
It's only bringing good people here in the city, Unlike some other states, people chasing for wrong reasons, but
Right.
we have lots of young people moving to Nashville, and again, that comes with the traffic jam. It's not... Things are,
Yeah, it comes with traffic and general.
right,
Yeah.
and also
no, stay where you are.
and the cost of living,
Right.
The rent. We used to rent, a 2-bedroom for $500-600. That's no longer the case. a one single person can no longer, afford to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They have to either double their shift or do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it has impacted our community as well, just
Right.
like any other communities. A single parent with kids, can no longer buy a normal average house.
Right.
We're struggling with that. Although
Right.
there's more jobs now, the pay is a little more.
Right.
But still, what's happening right now? It's insane. An average house. $500,000.
It's ridiculous.
It doesn't make sense.
No. Because
And you don't even get property with it now.
Yeah,
You
you're
don't
right.
even get,
Yeah, you just get the house. Yeah.
You just get rent up there. You get a little piece of little front yard. That's it.
A deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the living wage right now in Nashville is like $51,000 a year annually, and so we know of many people. Like even our educators wasn't making that.
Right. Exactly.
And so it just who knows who knows where Nashville's gonna go, but it's good to hear that like the Kurdish community is responding. Right, you all are preparing for that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And having resources in place for people who still want to move here, and people that are still currently here to figure out how to navigate this growth, which I think is important.
It is. Nashville, you can no longer just go walk into a restaurant and grab a menu.
Right.
You gotta have reservations, or you have to wait online.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Nashville is fun, man. We love Nashville. Me personally, I've had job opportunities, at different states, but
Right.
I just couldn't let Nashville go.
Yeah.
I don't want to move anywhere else.
Yeah, that's why you're the president, man.
Yeah. Nashville has been good to us,
Right.
to our
it really has.
community. So.
I want to bring up something you talked about earlier, and of course I have to get Dash's perspective on this because you brought up something about gender, especially women, right, and how they dress. And again, perspective. People gonna group Middle East, right? And we know a lot of times some of the barriers that women in the Middle East face, like this outlaw, something that can't read, right? Can't dress this way, right? How has being here in Nashville as a Kurdish woman, right, and being outside of those type of barriers, women in general still have barriers today, right? And you know, us as men, we have certain privileges that have existed.
I think that's with any culture,
any cultures,
religion,
right?
you know.
Yeah. How has that played a part here in Nashville and the Kurdish community, just far as with the dress and being a woman and that play a part in, you know, just everyday life as a Kurdish woman here?
I think it just depends on how you've been raised.
Right.
For example, me personally, my dad, my parents, is like, it's your choice if you want to wear it or not. Wearing a scarf,
Right.
just dress modest, you know, like. But there are some families that they could be like, oh, you know, pray 5 times a day, wear a scarf.
Right.
But a lot of them still give that person their choice. But like I say, it's how you're raised.
Right.
But me personally, I've never had any issues. Like, of course, there are some people where I'll be like, oh, I'm Muslim. And they're like, oh, where's your scarf? And I'm just like, I don't need a scarf to be Muslim, you know?
Right.
So I think it's just all about perspective. You know, like I said, there's so many people here, when you say you're Muslim, they automatically see women in the scarf, you know, covered. You know, there's even some people where they're, you know, they automatically think, you know, you wear the whole, you only show your eyes. And I'm just like, no, it's not like that, you know? So
how do you respond when people like, because again, like as a person, like I've had the opportunity to like travel and live out literally across the world, right? So I've been able to like ask all my like dumb questions to people, because
there's never a dumb question.
There's never a dumb question, but like how you ask it can be dumb, right?
Yeah.
How you it might not be a dumb question, but how you articulate can be dumb. In a dumb way you articulate it, right? So I had the opportunity to be able to ask them, like, hey, like I'm an American. This is what I see, right? And so break it down to me. How do you all like explain that sometimes to people who coming in just like kind of just not knowing, right? But like they're curious and it just comes out in like an idiotic way, but it's not like meant to be harmful or like discriminatory. Just like they just don't know.
I mean, for me, I just tell them it's a choice. You know, it's a choice if you want to wear a scarf and if you don't. You know.
See, there's never a dumb question or as such, or me personally, I never get offended by any question I get, because I don't expect you to know the answer, because if you did, you would never ask me that question in the first place. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't get offended by any question. I mean, people call me different names, you know, or mispronounce my name, or automatically categorize me, you know, on different groups. I don't get affected. I mean, I don't get affected by it, because I don't expect you to know, because it's for my job, you know, to educate you, you know, about who I am.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it all depends, you know, what we're facing.
Right.
A lot of time I take my mom to shopping with me, you know. And of course she wears a scarf.
Right.
Yeah. Scarf or head covering, I should say. A lot of people automatically think the perception is it's a religious thing, you know. Not necessarily. It's more. It could be a cultural thing too.
Right.
Or some people in different types of part of the world, you know, they wear scarf or head coverings, you know, not necessarily because of their religion.
Right.
You know, so when I take my mom to shopping with me, sometimes, you know, there are people who might look or peek, you know, what is she wearing? But I just wait for that. If they ask a question, you know, I'm ready to tell them, hey, she's wearing a scarf. It's not necessarily because, you know, strictly of religion.
Right.
Religion might be, you know, a part of it, but there are other reasons, you know. So again, it all depends on the situation, you know. I don't get offended by it when people ask me a question. I've realized something, you know, over years. For us, you know, to accept each other, we have to educate each other.
Right.
Like for today, when I leave here, I've learned something about you,
Right.
and you have learned something about me, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And and somewhere down the road we can connect.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's about that, really.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm like wanting to be real intentional about like just getting people from the Kurdish community here to talk to and break this down to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it's all kind of embarrassing if you're a person and you're in Nashville and they say, hey, I like to work with the community, right?
Right.
Like that means like everybody, and that means
Exactly.
you have to be intentional about reaching out to people that you don't see every day and at least learning
Exactly.
and finding out like, hey, what are some of the things that you all are working on of building power in the community? How can I be a part? How can we,
Yeah, for sure.
kind of collaborate and organize together?
And there's
right?
never an embarrassing question. The only thing embarrassing I see is if you're not willing to go and ask that question.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing to me. You know, if I want to learn, about you,
Right.
it's embarrassing for me not to come and ask you, hey, introduce yourself to me.
Right.
That's embarrassing. But asking any other question, it's not embarrassing. You're only asking for you to get some information.
Yeah.
To know about that person or about
Right.
that culture.
Right.
Yeah.
What are like some what is maybe like one, you each one can give me like one of them, right?
Yeah.
What is like one like misconception that people may have about the Kurdish community here in Nashville? Like just totally get it wrong. What is like one misconception like people just for some reason they like think that this happens or this doesn't happen, but they're completely wrong?
Oh my
That's a
God.
good question.
Yeah.
Take your time.
You got me on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
And y'all gotta tell me.
There has been there's few. I believe one thing is Muslim Middle Easterns.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I really
I'm gonna tell you one
it doesn't
that I had.
it doesn't affect me a lot, but it doesn't hurt me, but it hits me
Right.
sometimes,
Right.
because I'm different, I'm not Arab.
Right.
I mean, with all due respect to other nationalities, with Arabs or Turks or Persians or Americans and blacks or whites, but I'm me,
Right.
I'm Kurdish.
Right.
I'm from Kurdistan. My language is different. My culture is different. My religion, it might be different than yours.
Right.
I'm not Middle Eastern that you think I am.
They get up
Yeah.
under your skin.
It does. Yeah, sometimes it does.
Yeah.
That's the only thing it gets under my skin because I'm such a proud of I'm a nationalistic guy.
Right.
I mean, I'm a proud Kurdish American.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm proud of this country. I'm
Right.
proud of my ethnicity,
Right.
of my blood.
Right.
Although I've lived here for 26 years, I love this country. I mean, I'm die hard, of everything about this country.
Right.
Big football big football fan.
Right.
Everything here. But at the same time, I am me.
Right.
I'm Kurdish.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not. Nobody will take that away from me.
Right.
And I try my best to educate my kids that too.
Right.
Be good citizens, be good people, accept everybody around you,
Right.
your peers, make friends, know about every culture,
Mhm.
but at the same time you have to be yourself.
Right.
You have to know who you are as a
Right.
person. Don't let anything to take that away from your
Right.
identity.
Right.
So
How about you, Dash?
Honestly, that same
Good
thing. Like when people are like, ask me, hey, where are you from?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh, I'm Kurdish. And they're just like, where is that? And I'm like, oh, like, my region is from Northern Iraq. They automatically, oh, so you're Arabic. And I'm just like he said, nothing
Right.
wrong with it, but it's like, no, I identify as Kurdish.
Right.
And then when they don't take the time to be like, oh, well, can you explain what that is?
Right.
And they just brush it off and like, no, you're Arabic. It's like, no.
Right.
Hold on a minute. Let me educate you.
Is that like so for people who just don't know, right? Like our lenses can be blurry or group people together.
Yeah.
Do many folks say, "Oh, you're Arabic," or think you're Arabic, or think you're
Arabic, yeah.
Arabic?
Because
Yeah.
majority of Arabs are in Middle East, so
Yeah.
they automatically think you're Arabic, yeah.
Yeah, they
And
automatically.
probably think you speak Arabic too.
Yeah.
Because of their region.
Yeah.
Because of the region. So
There are 22 Arab countries, you know,
Right.
in the Middle East.
they assume the writing is the same, the language is the same,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, the culture,
like
everything.
yeah, I think that's easy for people to do because if you don't, if you just you know,
Yeah,
at
but
least-
true, it's easy for. But
not saying it's right,
let's
but
say
yeah.
they wouldn't ask a Jewish person the same question. Why? Although Jews are in the same region.
Right.
Israel
Right.
is in the same region as we are in the Middle East.
Right.
So how come they wouldn't get the same question as we do? You get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned this from. It really inspired me. Mike Tomlin, Steelers head coach.
Yep.
At the beginning of the season, you know, they were having a shaky season. You know, they were losing a lot of games in a row, and people automatically, you know, people in the media, sports world, you know,
Right.
put them on a hot seat, you know, of changing their head coach, you know.
Right.
And Mike Tomlin, in a press conference one day, he said, "Why am I asking this question a lot? How come Champagne is not being asked that question? They're losing back-to-back games. You know, how come other coaches, you know, are not in a hot seat? But why am I the only one in a hot seat because I'm black?
Yep.
You ask me the same question
you're
because
Kurdish? Yep.
Exactly. So
Yep.
sometimes I feel like whenever we do get that question, you know, why don't you ask the same question to a Jewish person?
Right.
So we're in the same region. You know what I mean?
So
So it's this kind of, but again, it's my job to educate
Right.
people of who I am.
All right. So you finna do some educating to me right now. Because I'm finna lay something on the table that most people probably wouldn't ask y'all. So I'm gonna ask you because it's deep, this conversations. Now, outside looking in, growing up, I always feel like don't nobody know this, but growing up, actually, I had a crush at MTSU, Middle Tennessee State. I ain't gonna say her name. She was Kurdish woman. Looked good too. She was fine.
You know what you said? I'm strapped, man.
So look, now check this out. And she liked me too. We liked each other, right? She liked me, right? Now in front of you see, I hope you know where I'm going with this.
We're gonna
Right?
I feel
fight.
like there's two different views about
We're
this.
gonna fight, man.
But
Calm down.
but you know, but it was this thing like she really couldn't, you know what I'm saying, commit like that all the way to me because I was black. Now, is that a thing in the culture where you all preferably, you know, would like the women?
Let me.
Yeah,
sure.
break this. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Let me be honest with you and break it down to you, okay?
help me understand.
Nothing personal, okay?
Yeah,
Against
no,
you
no.
or your skin color.
No.
You know, God has created us, you know, differently, or from different backgrounds, from different nationalities, right? At the same time, you know, I mean, I'm a person of faith. I believe in God, you know. We have to get along with each other, you know, in every aspect of life.
Okay.
Okay? It is not my place or not my my job to judge you based on your skin color or based on whatever you believe in.
Right.
Okay? We're both human beings. We're supposed to, you know, respect and accept each other. Okay? But when it comes to certain, you know, certain aspects of life, you know, we have to be realistic. Okay? Even I wouldn't say scientifically speaking, but hypothetically speaking, you know, let's say me, okay? I prefer to marry someone or to date someone, a person of a same kind, simply just for the understanding aspects of life.
I totally get it.
I hope you know what I mean.
I totally get
You know?
it. Totally understand.
Me and you, me and, you know, let's say a black girl or a white girl. We might have feelings for each other. We might be in love. You know, we might have a lot of similarities. You know, a lot in common. But when it comes to once you start living together,
right.
that's when the reality hits you. That's when the, you know, the actual the reality of life hits you. That's
Right.
when you know you are two different people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I guess one of the main reasons is that, you know. Of course, religion plays a big part.
Culture in general plays a big part.
Religion,
right?
especially religion.
It's part of
plays-
it's part
religion,
of one's
you know,
culture.
plays a big role in, you know, allowing a woman, you know, to date a certain, you know, a certain person outside of their religion or culture, and
Right.
of course, culturally speaking as
Right.
well. I'm not saying our culture is is radical or too harsh, but simply we've experienced this before, Parents, prefer their daughters, to find. Although the evolution of mankind, it has changed,
Right. Right.
This new generation is completely different than
Yeah.
what generation like what 20, 30 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So automatically things are changing, but as far as how we think in our culture, it's nothing against the black that she's dating or against the white that she's dating. It's simply telling her, hey, it's completely two different cultures. Is it possible to merge those two cultures and live?
Is it?
Because we believe, see, this is what we believe.
Is it?
Because we care so much about marriage,
Mm-hmm.
Some people think, okay, you will only get married once. So when you do get married, make sure it's the person, of a lifetime.
Right.
Although a lot of people don't believe in that because, divorce happens for a reason. There are things change in life,
Right.
But in our culture right now, we've had girls, women married to Ethiopians, to Hispanics, to whites, to blacks.
Right.
We've also had
It's mixed now.
girls
Right.
from them.
Right.
We have I know this guy married to a Somalian.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that. It's all about personal preferences,
Right. Yeah.
But in general, it's simply because of this reason, because the cultures are different.
No, I
Can you merge those two cultures to make it one? I haven't. I don't know because I haven't been in that situation.
Right.
But
Have you seen it work, Dash? Have you?
So I'm going to talk for the whole Middle East, basically.
Okay.
I think it depends on the person.
Okay.
Because, for example, we know someone.
Right.
He's married to a Persian lady.
Right.
And it works. They have a beautiful family.
Right.
it could work.
It works.
Yeah.
It could work.
It could work.
It depends
It's
on the
not
person.
impossible. No.
Right.
It really isn't. And I feel like today's generation is more open-minded than back then. When I was a kid,
Right.
when looking at people getting married and how if you married outside of the culture, they would have kind of looked at you funny.
Right.
But now I feel like our generation, even the older generations, they're more open-minded. They're realizing, okay, it's more about
They're more
the
accepting.
love,
More
accepting. It's
accepting,
more
yeah.
about the love.
Right.
And are these two good for each other?
Right.
It's not about how anybody is going to look
Right.
at it. It's
Mhm.
about if these two can make it work and
Right.
if they're good with each other and they have each other's back.
Right.
Basically what marriage is about,
Right.
then go for it.
And one thing
That's
we
how
don't
I
believe
see
in
it.
is the arranged marriage.
Yeah.
That is
Okay.
that is
I think
far away from our.
some people
it's a
assume that,
misconception.
yeah.
Some people think that again, that's another thing that people categorize with Middle Easterns, because there are
Right.
still until this day,
Right.
with all due respect, there's arranged marriage, in those cultures,
Right.
Yeah.
But in our community, in our culture, it might have existed maybe 20, 30 years ago,
Right.
even more far back,
Yeah, for
but right
sure.
now,
That's a hit or miss right
parents
there.
are not gonna,
Right.
force their
I had to
their
ask
kids,
you, though, man.
Yeah.
My heart was broken. No, but
I'm not surprised why your heart was
no,
broken.
you're not surprised. but no, because because again, like if you're not in that, and like we as a black person, right? As a black person
Yeah.
that grew up like again in the South, and you have parents saying like, hey, don't bring no white girl home, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
come up in a country where like I could have literally been killed or lynched, a type of killing, right? For even looking at like a white
True.
woman, right?
At certain times.
At certain times,
At one
you know what
point,
I'm saying?
yeah.
And so that's
Yeah,
some of that
that's very
still trauma, and some of that
It still
is
exists.
passed down, right?
It-
Psychologically, it's
Yeah.
I
still
feel
passed
like
down.
it still exists.
Yeah.
It exists, but not
Oh, yeah, it's
to a
different.
certain
Yeah.
extent.
To a certain
Yeah,
extent,
things
right.
has changed.
Right.
Right now, people can no longer control that of
Right.
who you date because we're so integrated right now.
Right.
We go to
Right.
school together, we eat together, we drink together, we go
Right.
outing together. Look at all the sporting events, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
things, the evolution, it has changed,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So same thing within our culture, our
Right.
community, things has changed,
Right.
you know. For example, a parent, you know, can no longer tell their daughter or their son not to dress a certain way,
Yeah.
Right.
because time has changed, you know.
Right.
The only thing we can do is try to educate everyone to
Right.
accept each other,
Right.
and that's it.
Well, look, I wanna give y'all the space to close out here. Is there anything you want to tell the listeners and the viewers? Any parting words about kind of? I know you all have the New Year's event festival coming up in March. Anything else you want to put out there that the Kurdish community has going on that, or people should just look into and find out more about what you all are doing or what's happening in the community?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us. You know,
Oh, no, for
it's
sure.
been-
No,
it's
I
been-
learned a lot. I was like, this
Yeah.
is
I-
deep.
I hope by the time we walk out of here, you guys have learned something about our culture, about our community as a whole. You know, I'm the president of Tennessee Kurdish Community Council, and our organization has been serving our community since 2006. You know, the main goal for our organization was to, you know, empower the youth, you know, and be a key asset in the community and help them with do a little bit of everything, you know, based on our limited resources we have, you know. Right now we are in the early stages of planning for Kurdish New Year, Nowruz. Nowruz means a new day.
Nowruz.
Yeah. Nowruz is a Kurdish New Year on March 21st of every year. So we're planning to have an event, a fun, full of festivities on March 20th. It's a Sunday. So I would like to, you know, welcome everyone. It's not just for Kurds only, you know.
Right.
We want our American friends, non-Kurds, you know, to attend, to come and basically
I'm there.
to experience, you know,
Yeah, I'm coming.
that, you know, that
I want VIP
celebration
too.
with us. You should.
I want to be backstage.
Yeah.
I want all of that.
Oh, it's at a park,
If
man,
you're
but-
coming, you're
well-
gonna enjoy yourself, man. It's lots of food, lots of music,
Yes,
lots of
music,
dancing,
food.
and you will be part of that
Yeah.
circle dance too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
learn the dances and everything.
Yeah, so we as an organization, we always in need of, you know, volunteers. You know,
Yeah.
we do offer community hours. We do offer school hours. You know, if you want some volunteer work, hit us up. You know,
Yeah.
come to us. We'll be able to give you
We're trying to get
lots
the
of
younger generation
hours.
in, you know.
Yeah.
Our whole
Educate.
point, our whole, you know, goal is to empower youth. You know, get
Okay.
youth involved. You know, and trying to educate them about our culture, about, you know, what do we do here
Right.
in Nashville. So especially in today's, we have lots of, you know, young generations are dealing with maybe things that are outside of the law. You know, so
Right.
we're trying to get them focused. You know,
Right.
get them interacting with doing other stuff, just to get their mind off,
Right.
their mind off of other stuff. You know.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So we do
Positive
the
impact.
yeah, we do a little of everything for our community. You know.
Right.
So again, we're glad to be here. You know.
No,
Yeah,
thank
I
y'all for
appreciate
being.
it.
And
No,
you guys
no,
are
no.
welcome to come to, you know, Nowruz.
No, I'm at
Yeah.
the rules. You ain't got to tell me no more. I'm
We're
there.
gonna-
I'm gonna come look for you. I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
hey, Tabeer and Dash told me to come, and they gonna give me the VIP treatment.
Yeah. We got
And I need food. I need some attire. I want the whole thing.
You want the whole outfit
Yeah, I want the
too?
whole outfit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I
Alright.
think it's only appropriate to wear it there, you know, because then I don't want
Yeah,
to, you know what I'm
sure.
saying? Yeah, I want to do it the right way. Yeah. So you all
And you
have
know what they're
to-
gonna say?
What they gonna say?
They're gonna say Rashuhat.
Well, how you say?
Rashu.
Alashu.
No, Rashu.
Arashu.
Rashu.
Arashu.
Why are you adding an A in the front?
Yeah.
Arashu.
Rashu.
It's Russia.
Rashu.
Arashu.
Rashu is when you call someone a black guy. A black guy. A black guy is wearing like Kurdish clothes. Rashuhat.
Man, look, we done. This is over. All right, this is over. Appreciate y'all for
Ending
checking
on
out.
that note.
We ended on that note. All right, it's gonna be for the flip on some tables in here. All right. I appreciate y'all for checking out another episode of Deep Dish Conversations.
Yeah.
Tabeer, Dash, thank y'all again. They finna
Thank
take
you,
this
man.
pizza home with them. See y'all soon.
All right. Thanks for having us.